So I'm sitting here driving to work this morning, listening to a non-political book. It's a book called Just a Minute by Wess Stafford. He's the president and CEO of Compassion International. A lot of you will know him because he is or Compassion International is something that has come by maybe your church or organization, and you were able to sponsor kids over in different places around the world who are in desperate need of support, education, clean water, things like that. Very similar to the organization that we run out here in Hunterdon County and in Essex County called Adopt One Village. They're much larger, much more successful than us, and so he's a leader that I look up to, and I'm reading this book to learn a lot about the way that they do ministry. And then all of a sudden, I get to this section of the audiobook that just made so much sense to me as far as our current situation here in the United States. It's the political situation, it's the gun control debate, it's the city-centric versus versus suburban and rural living debate. It's just the difference of all the people and the way that they see things and the way that we're raising up our children, especially in the public school system. And so I just want to play here maybe 5 or 6 minutes of audio. I've got the camera pointed at the sky, just simply because I'm sitting in a parking lot, didn't want to record employees coming in or anything like that, and just wanted to give you a blank slate just to listen to what he has to say. So I'm going to press play here. I'll turn up the volume. Hopefully you can hear it.
Section 6. A moment to stretch the mind. What separates human beings from the rest of the animal kingdom? In great measure, it is our capacity to reason, to create, to communicate complex thoughts. All of this is made possible by a gooey mass inside our skulls about the size of this morning's bowl of oatmeal. Without a doubt, we are fearfully and wonderfully made. Psalm 139, verse 14. Throughout history, we have not always understood how the mind works, but we have still used and abused it in wonderful and terrifying ways. Satan messed with Eve's mind clear back in the Garden of Eden as his first tactic to separate people from their Creator, and thus break God's heart. Propaganda and mind control has long been the first wave of attack in historic warfare. It has always proved more powerful than clubs, swords, guns, bombs, missiles, or remotely guided drones. Today, it is what convinces a teenage boy or girl to strap on explosives, walk into a crowded marketplace, and blow themselves up, along with as many innocent bystanders as possible. In the suicide bomber's mind, it makes perfect sense, or they would never do such a heinous act. The ability to control another's mind drove the Crusaders, the Nazi hatred, the communist seizure, and today is the driving force behind terrorism. It's also the genius behind advertising that creates needs and causes us to fill our homes and storage units with stuff we were convinced at one point we couldn't live without. Amazingly, these forces are very capable of penetrating even the hardest concrete of educated, savvy grown-ups. But what if the cement is that of a child, still soft, moist, and easily impressionable? Little spirits attuned to what is going on around them. They are constantly asking, who am I? What matters? How should I behave? What should I do? What is wrong and what is right? In a previous section, I told the tragic story of how Adolf Hitler's young mind answered those questions, and why. As an adult, his mind was filled with resentment, shame, hatred, and an insatiable drive for revenge and domination. That's one reason he started the Hitler Jugend, Hitler Youth Movement, as early as 1922, a full decade before he formally became Chancellor of Germany. Its membership grew from 5,000 boys aged 14 to 18 in 1925 to 25,000 in 1930, to 108,000 when the Nazis took over in early 1933, to 2.3 million by the end of that year, partly by swallowing whole the Lutheran youth movement of 600,000 members. By December 1936, membership was mandatory across the Third Reich. By December 1936, membership was mandatory across the Third Reich. Its stated purpose? To build Aryan supermen for the future of the world. Long before the first shot was fired, or the first Jew was arrested and thrown into a concentration camp or gas chamber, this campaign was teaching German youth to proudly don the Nazi uniform, salute the swastika, and bow to the future Führer's hateful and terrifying agenda. Hitler fully grasped the significance of childhood and the power of masoning wet cement. So did Mao Zedong, who set up the Socialist Youth League of China even earlier than Hitler's in 1920, a year ahead of the actual Communist Party in that nation. Today it is called the Communist Youth League and has spawned a number of party chairmen and general secretaries, including the current Chinese president, Hu Jintao. Among the League's responsibilities is overseeing the young pioneers with their trademark red scarves, a vast movement, 130 million members, for children aged 6 through 13. Their pledge translates as follows: I am a member of the Young Pioneers of China. Under the Pioneers' flag, I promise that I love the Communist Party of China. I love the motherland. I love the people. I will study well and keep myself fit, literally exercise well, to prepare for contributing my effort to the cause of communism. Meanwhile, how well are we shaping the minds and loyalties of young Christians in the West? It is a rare church that spends more than 15% of its budget on ministry to children. This reality is what drove me to Compassion International over 34 years ago. Children. It's all we do. The cultivation of young minds is central to history, for good or evil. While the overall process is long, the power to influence a child's intelligence can bear fruit in just a minute.
So, just my thoughts on this. Obviously, this could be applied politically, like I had mentioned, and all of that. I don't want to go that direction. I don't want to start an argument or some type of non-peaceful discussion, if you will, about our current situation in our nation. I'll let you go down that road all by yourself and think about that, because I'm not going to be able to change your mind, and you're not going to change mine. We're going to form our own opinions based on what we see, what we hear, and all of that. I just say open your eyes, take a look, and think about that. But I will say that today you have the opportunity to go out and to influence a child. He mentioned Adolf Hitler and the fact that he was driven by this tremendous sense of needing revenge and control and all of this. Adolf Hitler was a boy who was deeply affected by the actions of others, which we believe built into him the desire to do what he did. We don't know about Mao Zedong. We don't know about some of these other leaders who do these things, but we do know that tremendous leaders in our nation and in our world who do good things have also been tremendously influenced by a person or by a people. And so I just suggest humbly that we try to make an effort in someone's life to make a difference today. I love to make an effort in young people's lives, especially when we're over in Africa and I see the incredible potential. They just don't have a path out of their poverty. They're trapped by it. And we're trying to erase that by empowering them. But you will run into someone today, a child, an adult, someone that you can influence with a positive word, with an act of love, whatever it may be. I want to encourage you to do that. Sky Jathani is one of the greatest speakers on Christian vocation and our calling, our destiny, all of that as Christians in the world where we work. And one of the things that he shared recently, just before Easter, I believe, was a commentary on the golden rule of treat other people the way you would want to be treated. And you know something? For years I've said that that's what the Christian needs to do. A Christian needs to walk around, and regardless who they're bumping into, they need to treat that person the way that they would want to be treated, to give them equal respect. He corrected me with a very simple meme that basically showed the silver, gold, and platinum rule. I forget what the silver rule was. It had to do with treating other people well. The golden rule was treating other people the way I wanted to be treated. The platinum rule is actually the standard for Christ followers, which is treat other people the way Christ would treat them. And so I just want to encourage you today, head on out, make a difference. Do you remember that one moment, or maybe there were several, that changed your life when you were a child and shaped part of who you are today? Does it bring a smile to your face? Does it bring tears to your eyes? Maybe a wistful gaze back through time? We all have those stories that we can tell, and now we can make those stories happen for other people. I encourage you to go out and do that today. God bless.